Welcome to Just in the Woods. I'm Justin, and today we're going to talk about magnifying lenses. Hope everyone's had a good holiday season. Now, in this series, I've been showing you, starting from the bottom, different items that you could use to equip yourself. What I'm wanting for you to start thinking about now is how all those pieces of equipment will come together and will give you a system to work on. You'll find that there's no one item that's going to work in every single situation, but now we're going to start to get in a little bit more of the mentality, primarily of conservation of equipment and using the tools you have at your disposal in the right situation to increase your chances of success. Quick and dirty, what you want to look for in a magnifying lens, you want at least 5 power, and I'm going to end up giving a small demonstration here in a second. You want a lens about 2 inches in diameter. I have a big lens here, and this came out of an old pair of binoculars, and I find that really to be suitable. Most binoculars are going to be high powered, and they're going to give you, a large enough lens to work with. This right here is what you would call like a Fresnel lens, and this is just, a little plastic sheet, that's magnified. These are only advertised as 4 power, but I've started many fires with just that. But you're definitely going to want to have a little bit larger diameter lens. Something else to include with that, which I have a whole bag, and we have a video, on how to make this, but char cloth and charred material, they're going to be your friend when it comes to making solar fires. Dark materials will absorb heat a lot faster and more efficiently, and in some cases it's almost necessary to get an ember with the char cloth first using a magnifying lens. So what I've found is that I really didn't think that a magnifying lens was really that useful, being completely honest with you, when I first started using them. The more that I've actually learned how to effectively use one, I've grown to like them a bit more. And for the size and weight, I think it's a good idea to have in your kit. And that's kind of what I want to talk about, is a conservation of your resources. When you are in optimal conditions to get a fire going by solar with one of these lenses, that's free. You're not wasting any fuel, you're not wasting your ferro rod, you're not wasting matches. As long as you have a lens that has good power, you'll be able to get an ember going very quickly. You have to have 3 combustion methods. That would be a magnifying lens, a ferrocerium rod, and a Bic lighter. And that will cover pretty much everything that you need it to do. More talking about conservation of resources, if I could get a fire started with a lens, I could do that for free. Now, if I can't, then the next step up would be to use a ferro rod. And if conditions are bad enough where I have to use an open flame coming from a lighter, then I'll use the lighter. You want to save the resources that are a bit more expendable and that you would rely on in an emergency. If it's an emergency, as long as I could get out of the wind, a Bic lighter is going to be first time every time. It's a lot easier to start a fire when you literally have a fire already going. But the point that I'm trying to make, you can only get a handful of strikes out of them, and you have fuel that's burning. In extremely cold weather, they don't tend to work too well, and you could dry them out, as I've shown in another video, when they're wet, but still in extreme wet weather they don't work too well either. So the deal with magnifying lenses, and what kind of turned me off from them in the beginning, you have to have the sun. You can't have a whole lot of clouds. You have to be in the sight of the sun, which the optimal hours are going to be at noon to about 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I've successfully been able to start fires, not in those exact times, but the conditions have to be right. You don't want a whole lot of cloud cover. You want a clear shot of the sun going through your lens and hitting your tender source. Which, that's really the first disadvantage, is that you have to have full sun. It doesn't work at night. It doesn't work as well in cloudy, rainy conditions. this isn't an option for those type of conditions. Say that you are in a forested area and you are in a thick canopy, you don't have a whole lot of sun coming through anyways. So in those type of environments and conditions, you're not going to be able to accomplish, the task with a magnifying lens. You take environments such as the desert, you definitely want to have a lens in the desert. That makes perfect sense. You're going to see a little bit of footage that I've done, and it's winter here where I am, and it's been getting, bone chilling cold. But considering the size and weight, I mean, you might as well have one anyways. I would recommend taking apart, a beat up pair of binoculars. It's going to allow you to get one of these lenses real easy, real cheap, and they're going to be high powered. Most of the lenses that you're going to find, it's going to be, at your craft stores, or your big box stores. They're not going to have a magnifying glass that's really going to do what you need it to do for this purpose. Now, something else we're going to talk about, and these are very cheap. They pack down to nothing. They're flexible. They don't weigh anything. They go anywhere. As a Fresnel lens. We're going to show you a little bit about that too. Okay, I think I've done enough talking. Let's go on ahead and I'll show you why you want to have a larger diameter lens. Okay, so obviously we're not going to try to start a fire in the house. I'm just going to show that all these lenses will work as far as getting an ember on a piece of char cloth here. And I think it's almost vital to use char cloth for this. I haven't personally had a whole lot of luck just igniting tinder where it just caught on fire just really, really quick. In my own experience, I feel that, getting an ember on a piece of char cloth is probably your best bet, and then transferring that into a bird nest to get your fire. So, first off, we're going to start with this big lens that I carry here. This is about 2 inches, and this is a 10 power. And what you want to do, hopefully you can notice the angle. You see how that angle right there, it's more of an ellipse. You don't want that. You want a solid circle, and you want to move this in and out. You see how that circle is really big of the light coming through? You don't want that. You want this a perfect circle, as small as you could get it. And we'll go ahead and just hold it there for a second. Okay. You might not be able to see it. Ooh, that's a big ember right there. So with the smaller lens, you have to get closer to your material. And we got an ember going with that. So as you can see, we can still do it. It's just a lot harder to control. Okay, so we have our char cloth sitting down there. We're using a Fresnel lens. We're already getting little bits of, we're already getting little puffs of smoke coming out of that char cloth, and that's all that took. The Fresnel lens is a little weird. You're not getting that perfect circle that you're looking for, so you gotta have to finagle it a little bit. We got that edge, we got that edge nice. We're gonna put it into our little tinder bundle here. And we're gonna go ahead and blow that into flame. Alright, so we're gonna take a little bit of jute here. The trick is to actually go and compress this. Usually you would want these little sources to kind of be fluffed up. It doesn't take too well to solar ignition this way. I haven't been able to actually get this to light on fire very quickly in a massive burst, So you would compress your material. and we're gonna get our bird nest ready here. Just a little bit, it's nothing serious. Essentially what you're gonna end up doing is you're actually going to char the material and make an ember out of that compressed material. You know, you just want to get it there and hold it and just let it smolder until it's smoking just by itself. And that's really the hardest part, is getting it held steady. You know, depending on the amount of time that you have, you could even go ahead and wedge, you know, a little lens like that, you know, with a stick and actually stick it into the ground, you know, force it to stay put. This just takes a little bit longer, but this is just another technique that you could use with natural resources. Really, we could just let that go and smolder. I'm just gonna go on ahead and help it out a little bit more and get the back end of it, you know, get a little more heat out of it. That's definitely charred up, burning on its own. We're gonna go on ahead and we'll get our little bird nest, stick that in there, and we'll get it blown into flame. And it won't take much. Once we get that angle right and just hold it there for a second, we have plenty of power to go ahead and get that ember. I'm getting good smoke out of it. I'm just gonna burn up, you know, a little bit of the edge there. Now all we do is we'll take our ember that we made there, stick it into our little bird nest, and we'll blow it to flame. As you can see, having a much more powerful lens just sped up that process. It was a lot easier to control and focus the beam of light, and that power made quick work of that char cloth. You know, it's really showing you the advantage of having a lens like that. So as you can see, if you go on ahead and get you a little bit of char cloth, get you a big powerful lens, it's going to make quick work of it. Once you get the hang of it, you know, you'll be smooth sailing. It's actually pretty fun, you know, getting a fire started virtually for free, you know, without using any of your other resources. I think the conditions do apply. Obviously, it doesn't work in every single condition, but I think that it is a good addition to have in your kit, and that way you could conserve your other resources. We're kind of dwindling down as far as the equipment in our little fire series here. You know, I just want to, you know, cover a lot of bases and show what's out there and what you could use to get started and start assembling your kit. We'll have some videos soon showing you what's in my fully assembled kits, and things change all the time. You know, get out there and practice. You know, use what you have available. You know, you might decide that there's things that you like, things that you wish you had, and other things that just aren't working for you. We'll start getting into assembling these kits and really putting everything together to show the overall skills involved and to help you to be successful. As always, I appreciate the support, and I'll catch you out in the woods.